Well, well, well. In the turn up. We have turned up RSFFL, and we're glad to see you here. Before we get going any further, we'd like to thank our sponsors. Our title sponsor here, YPL, Safely Developing Football's Next Generation. We want to just give you guys a big hand. You guys have been a big help. Like to say thank you to the good folks over at Glad. We've got some folks in the league stinking it up. You guys are here to freshen the day. Hennessy, when the season starts getting long, the nights get long, you need something to get your spirits up after putting up like 85 points, something like that, 81, similar to what Dan had. Go ahead and take a couple shots of this. That's the only thing I can think of to keep you going. And then also, our good folks over there at Miller Lite. Miller Lite likes to keep us refreshed with the typical six-pack that we all love to have. But yeah, man, let's go ahead and get right to it. For one of the funnest parts of the show is we're going to head over to our cellar dwellers. I'm not sure if everybody knows who's a cellar dweller, but you should know. We'll start over with Picasso Baby. Picasso Baby, you put up 95 points. Yeah, that's going to be tough. We can put a little bit of the blame on you, though. You managed to bench a quarterback who put up 38 points and started one who put up 13. Maybe you should think about getting Eli in your starting lineup. Team Wood Paws, 89 points. 89 points, my brother. We can attribute a little bit to the lack of success of your running game. David Wilson, -3 points. You're not going to win many games when your feature back scores -3 points. Just from what I'm familiar with. They say who that was the bottom of the barrel, 81 points. You're definitely going to win in a PPR league with 81 points, and you probably wouldn't win in a typical scoring league with 81 points. I looked at your roster to see maybe if you made some poor moves as far as your starting lineup, but no, you just look bad. It's going to be a long season for you because we know you're not typically a guy who likes to hit the trade block. That's not something you're really into. So it could just really get ugly for you. And then we're going to keep moving on. We had a bunch of high flyers. We saw how the PPR really affected the league. We saw two teams crack the 200-point mark, and that's simply unheard of for us. Like to start with the high flyers of ground and pound. Myself, 179 points. We're led by the #1 receiver and running back with Anquan Bolden and Adrian Peterson. So it's always great to have the #1 in 2 categories on your team and a bunch of other guys stepping up. Coaches Cadets, you guys put up 205 points behind Peyton Manning, who threw 7 touchdowns. I don't know much you can do with that. If your quarterback throws 7 touchdowns, you should be in good shape as far as moving forward throughout the season. SWAT Kings, I wish I could attribute to one player and say, hey, this guy is really what took SWAT Kings over there. I mean, he had a lot of solid play. He had everybody putting up well over 20 points. Reggie Bush really stepped up. So we just want to say, man, congratulations on that end of things. You guys are doing a great job. So let's go ahead and take it to our power rankings. Guys from around the league went ahead and submitted their votes. Want to talk about a little bit who they thought was the top teams in the league. And as you can expect, the #1 team is the king of SWAT Kings, Carlos King. And man, I got to attribute a lot of this to his draft. He went out there, he made a lot of trades, got a lot of picks in those middle rounds, 7 through 10 range, and he has made those work. He went and got 2 sleeper tight ends. A lot of people didn't see that coming. And now he's got some wiggle room. I'm sure there's going to be guys trying to trade. And we've seen some bad acquisitions already, but we'll get to that in just a second. Second in our power rankings is Coaches Cadets. He had a strong showing. He lands here at #2 spot. I'm not as sold on Coaches Cadets at this point. When you have a quarterback who just goes out there and puts up 59 points, that's something you probably won't see again. Not that he doesn't have a great team, because he does, but the #2 spot is kind of lofty. And Houston Hustlers actually snuck in there at 3 spot above above the ground and pound, which is surprising to us. But if that's how you guys see, Houston Hustlers had a great win last week, 178 points. I'm really happy for him after his season last year, where he just, well, not just his season last year, he's been the Jacksonville Jaguars of the RSFFL. He struggled continually. We're happy to see them get a win. And a high point scoring. And then ground and pound, you know us, 179 points. A lot of great play. Anquan stepped up. Great play from the quarterback. Just great play all around. And ground and pound has made an acquisition at tight end that could really improve their roster. And then the last team to make it into that top 5 power rankings is AFC, Arian Foster Care, which is good for them. Unfortunately, they ran into a buzzsaw last week in ground and pound after Demaryius Thomas flat out went off. I mean, he came out there. We really thought he was going to be the number one receiver coming into this week, but he just happened to get showed up by Anquan. So that's tough. So after about this week, we'll probably see a little bit more trades. We've already seen the waiver wires light up. And the guy who had the number 1 waiver spot actually passed on a top-tier receiver, it seems like. With the New England Patriots decimated at receiver, he had the perfect opportunity to go ahead and scoop up Edelman, and he didn't. I guess he has plans on getting a running back off the waivers. Typically, you just don't see a top running back make their way under the waivers. So, at the RSFFL live offices, we were a little confused, and we spoke with a few of the owners. They were confused as well, so we don't know exactly what Team Wood-Paws has going on, letting that guy slip by their fingertips and then going ahead and picking up Jason Witten. No, I'm sorry. I wish he would have picked up Jason Witten. He actually got Dallas Clark. So he just is going to be in a bad position for a while. I think he'll be a perennial cellar dweller with his horrible running back play, passing up the opportunity to get a quality receiver when he's working with an average at best receiving core. He's definitely not anything top tier in the league or anything like that. I would venture to say they're just really not that good a receiver. And he had a chance to really improve that, and he didn't. So that's interesting. Maybe you'll see him on the trade blocks. We saw Carlos King with the SWAT Kings continue to get better with his pickup. We saw Coach Lane's team over there. They made a pretty good acquisition. We see you. Coach Lane and Ground and Pound organization. They had some beef last year, but I think Ground and Pound has let that go after really smacking them around in the playoffs last year. So we got to tell them best of luck with that acquisition. We really wish you the best. Moving forward, let's get to this week's matchups. There's a lot of quality matchups this week. 2 teams that did well. They didn't do really well last year. The first game we're going to look at is Lynch Mob, and they say who that. The preview for this game, it should be a tight, close-scoring game. Lynch Mob had a really poor showing from Marshawn Lynch last week. It seems that they say who that is better at a lot of positions. You know, quarterback. I actually see Marshawn Lynch stepping up at running back. So I'm going to give the nod on our end to Lynch Mob. I really see Steven Jackson having a big day, as well as Adrian Johnson going against that Tennessee defense. But who knows? The Seattle Seahawks defense has got some stuff going on. So we'll see how that ends up. We really wish them the best. And I think it can be a good situation, especially with the Seahawks defense facing the daunted 49er offense. Moving forward, the next matchup that we have going on, and I think it'll be a good one, and I'm actually predicting the Hen Dog Susie Smackers to win, is Camp Creek Cartel versus Hen Dog Susie Smackers. I really see Aaron Rodgers stepping it up this week. He's going against the Washington Redskins defense, who really got shredded last week. So it could be a good situation for the Hen Dog Susie Smackers. But Camp Creek Cartel has some really good players. He's got Jimmy Graham, Vincent Jackson, Doug Martin, Tony Romo. And those seem to be the staples of his team. I wish I knew exactly what he was doing at the tight end position. He had a really, really good one. He had Jason Witten at the beginning of the season and let him go before even one game was played. So I don't know if I agree with that, but that was his decision. We've got Team Wood, Paws versus Houston Hustlers. I would go a little bit more in depth into that game, but I don't think it's necessary. Team Wood Paws is really looking like is looking like the boss of all bosses of last year. I don't know what he has planned, but I'm not really happy about some of his decisions. Not from an owner's perspective, but for somebody who just wants to speak to the overall competitiveness of our league. Robert Griffin really picked up the second half of last week, so I see Houston Hustlers stepping up a little bit more. They've got strong running game play from Ray Rice to Marco Murray. They should be in good shape. One game that we really gave consideration for game of the week over here is Arian Foster Care versus Team All Aboard. Arian Foster Care put up a ton of points last week. They're going against All Aboard, who's a solid team. I don't think they're one of the best teams in the league by any stretch of the imagination. They'd probably be at the 6-7 range at this point. But Arian Foster got Arian Foster, Frank Gore, two top of the line backs. Jason Witten, who just had a phenomenal game, and Miles Austin. So we really want to see his quarterback play step up with Matt Ryan. But then again, All Aboard's got McCoy, who just flat out went off last week. And if those Eagles keep up the rate they're playing, it's going to be tough for anybody to get in their way. However, he's a little bit lacking at the running back position because his other back is Eddie Lacy, who did not much last week. He had 12 points, but I don't see that happening again. But he's got a really solid receiver core with Des Bryant and Randall Cobb rounding that out. So with that game, I'm going to end up taking Arian Foster Care in the game that I think is second tier in the game of the week rankings. And then we've got Picasso Baby versus SWAT Kings. I don't know if we really need to go into this game, but we will. Picasso Baby has already got Eli Manning starting at his quarterback position. Running back position, he's really struggling with C.J. Smith, Chris Johnson. So I don't see it looking well for him. Stephen Ridley's going to have to really step up big for them. They won't have a chance. And at this point, SWAT Kings has not put any guys in the starting lineup. I know he says his guys are in a fight for it every week, so we really can't go in depth into what he's going to put on the field. But after last week, I'm sure he's going to put a quality product on the field. I'm really looking forward to seeing those guys roll. They've got a tough ball club, and we're going to pick the SWAT Kings, of course, as our winner in that game. Now, moving forward to our game of the week, we've got Ground and Pound versus Coaches Cadets, the co-host of our show. He's a little bit under the weather this week. He had to take the week off. I won't go into picking that game because everybody knows who I would pick. But it's going to be a great game. We really don't know if Peyton Manning can do what he did again. He put up 59 points last week. No one really sees that happening. Coaches Cadets really have a poor run game with Maurice Jones-Drew and then Ryan Matthews. But we will say he has a top-tier receiving core in this league. Brandon Marshall, A.J. Green, and then Reggie Wayne. It doesn't get much better than that in PPR league. If you're looking for a receiving core or somebody you want to trade with receiver-wise, I get in touch with him. Ground and Pound, they'll put their hat on having the best running back core in the RSFFL, and they've done that with Adrian Peterson, Jamal Charles, Colin Kaepernick's the quarterback, but he can run just as good as any guy in the league. And they got the number one receiver in RSFFL, or any fantasy league for that matter, in Anquan Bolden. So, the running back position, quarterback position goes to the Ground and Pound organization. And then the receiver, tight end, flex spot is going towards the Coaches Cadets. So it should be a big game. So that rounds out this week's edition of RSFFL. We really look forward to things heating up, getting some trades going. Would love to see you guys come on out to the home of the RSFFL Live Nation, 6208 Denmead Drive. You guys are always welcome. I'll crack open some Hennessy, Miller Lights, chipping in with a ton of brew. They're giving us 4 24-packs for our troubles as their sponsorship package. And I'll have plenty of Glad out. We just like to thank you guys for tuning in. Look forward to seeing you guys next week. And we wish all you owners the best of luck.